This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
What's good, boys and girls, and welcome to what we're calling for now Two-Footed Extra, which is going to be the news and gossip pod. It's only going to be 15 to 20 minutes in two parts. It may have a new name once we get things rolling. We're just trialing some stuff and seeing how it all works. But hopefully you've already listened to today's Two-Footed podcast, and this is then a little companion of what was the previous end of the show. Right. Let's jump in to the most recent news. West Ham United's Kurt Zouma is set to have a medical before securing a move to Saudi Pro League club Al Aruba. He is joining them, I believe, on loan with an obligation to buy. He was due to go to the United Arab Emirates, and West Ham were actually just going to let him leave, but he failed the medical. Kurt Zouma has some sort of knee issue that's been ongoing for a number of years, and apparently when West Ham signed him, they were told maybe that's a bit risky with that knee, but they pressed ahead with it. Unfortunately for Zouma, he has had a lot of knee problems even at West Ham, but he's moving on, and West Ham, I think, are probably happy enough. They've got Todibo in, they've got Kilman in, they've still got Mavropanos, they still have Agard for now, and we'll see what happens with him. But that's a really strong group of four centre-backs, so they can afford to lose Kurt Zouma, even if they take a hit on the transfer fee. Neil Maupay has responded to a video showing a group of Everton supporters verbally abusing players at London's Euston Station. The video shows fans shouting and swearing at several players as they walk past on Saturday following the 4-0 thumping by Spurs. Maupay, who was an unused sub in the game, responded to the video on X, Twitter, writing, "Imagine another job where it's normalised to get abuse like this. Hanging around at a train station, screaming at men who are trying their best." The video also shows some fans high-fiving players. It wasn't the whole group of fans. There were some fans that were there to genuinely show support for players that had had a very bad day. And look, you travel all the way down to London, your team gets smashed, you've got to travel all the way back up to Liverpool. I can understand why some fans would be upset by that. But there's no excuse for how some of these Everton fans carried themselves. Absolutely disgraceful, vile comments, personal comments, not even just about how they played or what they are as players. These are comments about what they were as men, which is just crossing the line a little bit, especially when you don't know anything about these men. You don't know them personally. You don't know what they go through on a daily basis. You don't know their situation. Very, very poor. In bad news for Eddie Gibbs, Linfield's David Healy has signed a contract extension to remain manager at Windsor Park until 2026. Raith Rovers were expected to appoint him this week. Now, he had already turned down Preston in recent weeks after they decided to make a change. Odd situation at Raith, where in the summer, I believe they handed their manager a brand new contract, 3 years, I think. And after a disappointing start to the season, obviously, they've made the decision to move on from Ian Murray. And David Healy was their chosen target, but it seems he has decided to stay where he is. I'm not really sure why. Maybe he thinks there's going to be something bigger or better that comes along. But that's now 2 moves across the water that he has turned down. Maybe he's just very happy managing in Belfast. He's from down. Maybe he can live where he's from. I don't know if he's travelling up and down. But he's been at Linfield now, which, you know, is one of the bigger clubs, obviously, in Northern Ireland, but not in comparison to the clubs across the pond. He's been there 9 years. He's done very well. He's won 5 league titles, 2 Irish Cups, 3 League Cups, and 2 Shields. He's been Northern Ireland Manager of the Year 4 times. But I would have thought he would want to go and test himself across the water, as he did as a player. Like, David Healy had a very good career. Came through the United Academy, didn't make the grade there, but went to Preston, did very well. Went to Leeds and did well. Was at Fulham, Sunderland, Rangers and Bury on permanent moves. Also played for Port Vale, Preston, Norwich, Ipswich and Doncaster on loans. David Healy was a good player, like a busy little striker, good movement, decent finisher, decent pace. Had a good career for Northern Ireland, 36 goals in 95 games, the all-time leading scorer for Northern Ireland, but he's decided he's either not ready or just doesn't have the interest in going across the water to challenge himself as a manager. Look, that's his prerogative. Fair play. Former Everton midfielder James Rodriguez has joined Rayo Vallecano as a free agent. So he left Sao Paulo this summer, contract terminated by mutual consent. He's just one of the great wastes of talent. It will never not annoy me that he hasn't made the most of his career. When he arrived at Porto from Banfield, he just looked like he was going to be one of the best players in the world. He went to Monaco. It didn't go great, but it drew the attention of Real Madrid, who had seen how good he was at Porto. He went to Real. He never really established himself at Real, never really showed what he was capable of. Flashes of brilliance, unquestionably, but no consistent run where you thought, this is it now. This is the best of him. Like, his best season there was his first season there, but just couldn't produce it consistently. Went on loan to Bayern for not 1, but 2 years. Then he ends up at Everton because Carlo goes there and Real are happy to just move him on because they're tired of paying his wages. Goes to Everton, has the year there. Then Benitez takes over. Benitez doesn't want him because he doesn't work hard off the ball. He moves to Qatar. He's not happy in Qatar, so he moves to Olympiacos in Greece. He has a year there. It's not even a year. I think he had like 7 months there. He showed flashes of genius. Like, he was levels above everybody else in the league, but for whatever reason, he just wasn't happy. He went to Sao Paulo. For whatever reason, he wasn't happy. And now he's back in Spain with Rayo Vallecano, and we'll see. But just such a waste of talent. Such a waste. Incredible, incredible passer. Great shot. Creative vision. Sensational, but No, I don't know why he's never managed to show what he's capable of on a consistent basis. Brighton have confirmed the signing of Matt O'Reilly from Celtic for £25 million, which I think is a really good deal. I do. I like Matt O'Reilly. And I wonder, is there anybody at Craven Cottage or Fulham's training ground just shaking their head right now, because he came through their academy and they were managed by Scotty Twocoats, who decided that O'Reilly wasn't up to the task and binned him off out the door to MK Dons. Just very, very strange. He actually left Fulham didn't sign with anybody for 6 months. Looked like he was a scrap heap job. He was 20 years of age leaving Fulham. Well, 19, about to turn 20. And just had been managed so poorly by Fulham that it was like he just became a ghost and nobody went near him. Goes to MK Dons, does really well there. Celtic then nab him a year after he signed for MK Dons, paying about $1.5 million. And he's been phenomenal for Celtic. Absolutely phenomenal. He's still only 23, turns 24 in November. I think he is going to establish himself as a really good Premier League player. I think him and Wiefer, potentially an excellent pairing. But for Denmark, he's obviously decided to play for Denmark because I think his mother's Danish, born of Norwegian descent. He could have played for Norway either. But him and Rasmus Hjulmand as a two-man midfield for Denmark genuinely could be exceptional. So I really like the deal for them. I think he's going to be a really good player. Last thing we'll do before we go to break is we'll do the Premier League Team of the Week, which is now brought to us by the boffin that is Troy Deeney. So he's gone David Raya in goal. He made some unbelievable saves. He made one good save, but Ollie Watkins should have scored. That was the only unbelievable save that he made, really. And it was more of an unbelievable miss. Then he's gone for Romero and Van de Ven. Romero was brilliant. Van de Ven was fine. Absolutely not in the Team of the Week. He's also picked Max Kilman. Max Kilman had a really ropey first half. He was like a young Rio Ferdinand, the way he stepped out and played the ball that sent Jared Bowen on to score. For those who are unaware, Max Kilman is 27 years of age. 27 years of age. Romero, no issue. The other two are nonsense. His double pivot is Emile Smith-Rowe and Kevin De Bruyne because they scored. I guarantee that's the only reason. Then he's gone for three behind the striker, Madeki, Palmer and Son. I don't have any issue with any of them. Genuinely don't. And then he's gone Haaland and João Pedro up front. Now, Haaland got a hat-trick, fair enough. João was good. He wasn't great. Harry's overlooked Ibu Kanate, who was monstrous for Liverpool against Brentford, or Luis Diaz, who was outstanding. I have no idea. Genuinely no idea. There are 6 picks in that are just garbage. Like KDB scored, hit the crossbar, and just sort of breezed through the game. It was a 7 out of 10 performance. Smith-Rowe scored, had some decent moments. He shows his talent, but certainly not in Team of the Week, and certainly not in central midfield. We'll be back after the break then with the gossip. See you in a sec.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? We choose freedom. The freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to make decisions about your own body. We believe in the promise of America, and we're ready to fight for it. Because when we fight, we win.
I'ma keep on running, cause a winner don't quit on themselves.
Paid for by Harris for President.
Right, welcome back. So we have 2 days worth of gossip because no point in doing Saturdays. It's going to be outdated. So we'll just do Sunday and Monday. So Chelsea are considering Dominic Calvert-Lewin as a cheaper option to Victor Osimhen. He will be a lot cheaper because he's not nearly as good. Calvert-Lewin, there's things he does really well. Fitness is an issue. I think desire can be an issue with him at times. He just looks like he skates through games and doesn't really care. I think he's had a contract in 12 months. Let me just check that. Yeah, he's had a contract in 12 months, so his price should be 25, 30, 35 million at a maximum. The goal record isn't great. He doesn't really offer anything that Nicholas Jackson doesn't offer, other than he's a bit better in the air. But he's not a prolific goal scorer. Like last season, he got 8 goals in 39 games. The 2 seasons before combined, he scored 7 in 36. It's very unlikely you're going to get that 2021 season out of him again, especially because you're not going to play as many long, direct balls as Everton were. So I'm going to call nonsense on that one. I don't think it makes sense for Chelsea, but it's Chelsea. They do a lot of things that don't make sense. Juventus have requested that Manchester United cover part of Jadon Sancho's wages to help facilitate a move for the 24-year-old England winger. Juventus are currently signing Conceição from Porto, and they've signed Nico Gonzalez from Fiorentina, so I'm not sure the winger is really on the agenda, but it could be. And I think Italian football would suit Sancho. I could see him being brilliant there. Arsenal will target another striker once they complete a deal to sign Mikel Moreno. I'd imagine they have to sell before they can do that. Like, not just Nketiah, but somebody else as well. Maybe Reece Nelson. Armando Broja's move from Chelsea to Ipswich is on the brink of collapse after his medical reveals signs of an injury, which isn't great. He's had some tough times with injuries. Porto have completed the signing of Samu Amora-Dion for 12.7 million, just weeks after a proposed 33.9 million move to Chelsea collapse. Now, they've actually bought 50% of him. They haven't bought him outright. I'm not quite sure how that's legal. Maybe Spain and Portugal allow this. I don't know. But even at 50%, that's still significantly less than Chelsea were going to pay. I'd love to know what happened in the Chelsea move. I haven't seen anyone report it yet. I'm sure it'll come out eventually. Nottingham Forest are keen to sign Arnaut Danjuma, with a 27-year-old forward preferring a permanent move to a loan. I don't know what they would do with him. Where does he play? Doesn't get in the team, in my opinion. He's a good player, but he's never shown he can play in the Premier League. He was awful for Everton last year. Leicester City are in talks to sign Morocco attacking midfielder Bilal El Khanas, with Genk wanting at least 17 million. He is an outrageously talented player. That would be a great signing. Now, you'd have him, Buenanote, and Fatua to rotate basically between the right wing and 10 roles. Buenanote can play both, so he can split time between the two. I think that deal makes sense. I think he's going to be a really good player. Tino Angerin has verbally agreed to join Empoli on a free transfer, but I believe Chelsea get a 50% sell-on clause because he's got a year left on his contract. It's a shame. When he came through their academy at 17, 18, 19, he looked like he was going to be a really good player. Just hasn't kicked on, developed. Too many loans. He's a prime example of why loaning players out isn't always the best path for them, especially if they're going different club each year. If you're going to loan a player and you think he's a couple of years away, do a 2-year loan. Do a 2-year loan and see. Let him have security there. Wolves are in talks to sign Luka Kolyashu. It would be really tough for Burnley if they lost both him and Oda Burton in one window, but it might happen. They do need a winger, having sold Neto. Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. will wait until the end of the season before making a decision on whether to pursue a move to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, a lot of racism towards him in recent years has, I think, really hurt him as a person. Obviously, I think it would hurt anybody. I just think Saudi Arabia will be just horrendous. Like, if he goes to Saudi, I think he's a top 2 or 3 player in the world. He might be the best player in the world. He genuinely might be the best player in the world. If he goes Saudi at 24, 25, that would be very disappointing. Real Sociedad are in advanced talks to sign Mats Hummels. The La Liga will suit him. Neil Maupay is keen to move back to France with Nice. That would make sense. I could see that all making sense. I really could. Maupay showed last year that he's got something to offer. Brentford are close to signing Gustavo Nunes in a 10 million deal. That one's been going on for a few days, so yeah, that's fair enough. Chelsea are considering a move for Jadon Sancho. I mean, why? Genuinely, why? What is it that he's going to do there? Where is it that he's going to play? This would just be an attempt to get Raheem Sterling off their books. I don't think Raheem Sterling will want to go to United. Chelsea resumed talks with Napoli over Osman. There's a deal agreed between Napoli and a Saudi club I think it's Al Ahly for Osman. I believe Al Ahly is where Mitrovic is. But apparently Osman doesn't want that move, so who knows? Selling Scott McTominay to Napoli will boost United's pursuit of Manuel Ugarte, with PSG holding out for 51 million. I don't know why Napoli want McTominay, but they seemingly do. I love Ugarte. I love the player, but it's a horrible fit with him and Mainu. It's genuinely a horrible fit. Crystal Palace are considering a move for Eddie Nketiah. Looks like that one is done and will happen. Nottingham Forest have submitted a third bid of just under 30 million for Santiago Jimenez. It looks like he doesn't want the move. The reports are actually coming from both the Netherlands and Mexico that he doesn't want the move, but we'll see. Money can change minds. Napoli are hoping to sign Billy Gilmore this week. That one's been ongoing. David Ornstein reporting that Man City are considering a move for 19-year-old Icelandic striker Ori Oskarsson, who plays for FC Copenhagen. 8 caps already, 2 goals, scored 15 goals in 41 games last year. Has 7 and 11 already this year. Fair play. More about Vinicius Jr. delaying contract talks at Real. Barcelona have pulled out of the race to sign João Cancelo. They never had the money to sign him. They were never in the race to sign him. Man City are willing to accept offers for Matthias Nunes following the return of Ilkay Gundogan. That could make sense. He didn't look like he settled last season. He's a good player. He's a really good player, but yeah, it just hasn't worked for him at City. I think he'll find a home and he'll do really well. West Ham are ready to offload James Ward-Prowse before Friday's deadline. I could see that being true. And I could see him going back to Southampton, to be completely honest. Liverpool could make a move for Goncalo Inacio, while Piero Hincapié is also a target. And this is also one that makes a ton of sense. Liverpool need a left-back who's of more of a centre-back profile so they can defend in a 3 and play in a 3 when they have possession. Somebody who can also add, though, to the attacking side. So with Inacio, it will be his passing. He's an elite-level passer. With Hincapié, he's dynamite breaking forward. He makes great underlapping runs, takes up good positions. He's the better 1v1 defender. Inacio's probably the better positional defender. Hincapié, I think, is the higher ceiling and he's quicker. I would lean Hincapié. I think he's the better fit. But Inacio's passing is very, very tempting. Very, very tempting. Right, folks, that's going to do me for today. Thank you, as always. Let me know if you like the format of the 2 shows and what can be tweaked and played around with. But yeah, this is what we're going to do moving forward until people tell us not to. So take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.